What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Eli the House Guy checking in, and in this video we're going to talk about how to finance your real estate deals. So generally speaking, there are 4 different places you can get financing from. That's going to be FHA or Fannie or Freddie Mac, conventional financing, VA financing, and USDA financing. That's one way. Another place you're going to get to finance your deals is if you go to an institution where they do asset-based lending. A third place you're going to get financing from is a private money lender where, you raise capital from your friends and family to go do deals. And the fourth place you generally can get financing is from the seller of the property itself. That's called seller financing. So in this video, we're going to talk about those 4 types of how to get financing, and stick around for the end, because at the end, we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you one of my funding sources that I use to get real estate deals done. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and stick around so we can talk about that at the end of the video. Now let's get over to the whiteboard and let me break it down for you. Speaking, the people that are using these loans are going to live in the property. That is their disposition strategy. They're going to get some kind of mortgage term of, the lowest I've seen is like a 10-year mortgage. You can get a 15, a 20, a 25, a 30. But nonetheless, people who use these loans are going to generally live in the house. Now, there's 4 main loan programs that come from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Those 4 main loan programs are FHA, VA, USDA, and conventional. Now, what this means is that an FHA mortgage is used for a person that wants to live in the property and put 0 to 3.5% down of the total purchase price that they're going to be buying a property for. Okay? VA is a veteran affairs program that allows a person to come in with 0% down for the loan. Then we have USDA. USDA loans, these are for properties that are rural, and they usually take a long time to sell on the market, or they're in the middle of nowhere, and there's not a whole lot of demand for properties like that. And then last but not least, we have conventional. And generally speaking, we're talking 5 to about 20% down for the purchase of the loan, which gets you the property. Okay? Now, all these down payments are your collateral to the debt, including the house. And so what's happening here is these loans that exist are generally not for investors to go out and purchase real estate deals. Now, because these 3 loan programs require a very small down payment, there's a lot of risk to the lender, Fannie and Freddie, that is going to be able to go out and finance this deal. So they don't want fixer-upper properties. And so when you're dealing in investment real estate, these loan programs that exist generally are going to take you out of the running to be able to purchase an investment property for fix and flip. Now, there are some specialty programs that do exist in the FHA world, like an FHA 203K loan, or if you're using an FHA to go out and buy a 4-unit building, or 3-unit, or even 2-unit. Now, I share those things because these are things that do exist, but we're not going to talk about that in great detail in this particular video. If you have any questions about that, stay tuned to the end. I'm going to give you a golden nugget, and you'll be able to help yourself if you need one of these loans to go out and buy some real estate. Moving on, conventional loans, okay, will allow you to be a little bit more flexible with the type of asset that you're going to buy. Generally speaking, these houses are nicer because people are living in them. But when it comes to buying a rental, for example, or when it comes to buying something that needs a bit of work, you can actually use conventional financing to go out and purchase that property because you have a significantly larger portion of what's called skin in the game that allows you to buy that investment property for your needs. But like I said, this is under the traditional umbrella, and generally speaking, when we're talking about fixing and flipping or doing any sort of real estate investing, the traditional way is going to allow you, I believe, up to 10 loans before you're capped out and you have no more access to financing. So you're gonna have to find an alternate source, which leads us to loan program number 2. We're talking about financing with cash. Now, going out and buying a real estate property for cash, in my personal opinion, is not a smart thing to do. The reason why is life happens and you need your cash to be able to handle whatever life's problems throw at you. So if you have all your money tied up in a house, you no longer have the liquid cash to go out and be able to do what you gotta do, and what that ends up letting you do is becoming stuck. It's also not an efficient way to go out and buy real estate deals if you're using all of your liquid cash. Now, from personal experience, I went out one time and I bought, I believe, 4 properties at once and used all of my cash to go do it. 2 properties I was fixing and flipping. 1 property I turned into a rental, and another property I bought on owner financing in order to go ahead and put that in my portfolio as well. Again, more on that stuff in another video. However, because I went and bought all these properties in cash, right, what ended up happening was I had so many houses on my hands, plus all the stuff I was wholesaling and running my marketing, and I got my money tied up in my business. I can't take it out. So I have all my money in all these assets, and then bills come due. You got to pay your mortgage. You got to pay the office rent. You got to pay your staff. You got to pay the utilities. You got to pay the systems that you use and the programs and the softwares and the tools. You got so much things to pay for that you're asset rich and cash poor. That is not a desirable position to be in, number 1. And number 2, it's not scalable. So relying on your own personal cash to go out and buy deals is not an effective use of your money. Many people in this business talk about using what's called OPM. OPM stands for other people's money. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to leverage your cash to get access to financing in order to go buy the asset that you want to buy. That is a lot more effective versus putting your own cash into a deal, but still, because you're putting your cash in that deal, it makes you more illiquid and puts you in a position where it's not as scalable as you might want to be in your real estate investing business. That leads me to financing strategy number 3. Now, under the institutional umbrella, you have 2 types of loan programs that exist. You have your general asset-based lenders that are going to lend you money based on the quality of the deal. Meaning, if you go out and you buy a property, let's say we have an ARV property of $250,000, right? And you're buying that property for $100,000. You essentially have $150,000 in equity. Now, let's just say hypothetically that that property needs $75,000 in renovation budgets. Renovation. Okay? That budget right here is going to allow you to still have another $75,000 in potential margin. Now, why is this important? This is important because if you're purchasing a property for $100,000 and you're capturing $150,000 in equity, or in other words, more than 50% of equity in this deal, any asset-based lender will look at that deal and say, hey, as long as it's legit and as long as you are who you say you are, we will give you the financing to go out and purchase that deal, fix that deal, and then determine what your exit strategy is going to be. With margins this great, you got a lot of different exit strategies that you can use to your benefit, right? Another type of institutional lender that exists with a program is called, generally speaking, hard money. Now, hard money is not really an institutional program that exists per se, but it is a cost. And when we say hard money, we're talking specifically about the cost of money. When we say hard money, this is expensive money. So with hard money, generally you need a good credit score. Okay. You need to have a good deal. Okay. There is going to be a high interest on the financing that you get, meaning that your cost for that money is going to be high. You've got points. You've got fees. You got appraisals. You've got collateral, right? And generally speaking, the same things apply when we're dealing with an asset-based lender. However, hard money doesn't necessarily have to be backed by a piece of property, right? It could just be like a loan shark. You go out to, let's say, a checking to cash, or a, what we used to have when I was in Canada was, what was it called? Cue the Jeopardy music while I think of it. Payday loans, right? Those loans get issued at very, very high interest rates for a very short amount of time. And so they will vet you. They will vet the validity of a check if you're going to a loan shark to get financing, all right, to carry you over. But generally speaking, this is just dealing with the cost of the money and some kind of collateral, whereas the asset-based lender that exist, they're going to give you financing based on the deal that you actually bring to the table, and there's a little bit less qualifying points because the collateral is the asset that they're lending against. So it's very, very easy to scale doing a lot of real estate deals using institutional financing, because they will give you the access to the capital that you need as long as you bring a good deal. This is the reason why you have to understand how to underwrite a deal. You have to understand where your property falls in the property quadrant we talked about in the acquisitions video, and you got to make sure you know what you're doing. When you get to start investing in real estate and you're looking for capital, generally speaking, the cost to get in, because you're leveraging someone else's cash, will be higher. Higher points, higher fees, more or less experience. You might have to bring in a few partners just to get the ball rolling. But once you get the ball actually rolling, your rates and your fees actually come down because you have proven yourself to be trustworthy enough for these kinds of loans and lenders to be issued to you to continue in your real estate investing business. So that leads me to financing strategy number 4. Now, this happens to be my favorite type of financing, because this is where you're going to be leveraging your relationships in order to get the capital that you need in order to do deals. Now, believe it or not, when I tell you there is money all around you, all day, every day, twice on Sunday, and even 3 times next month. What I mean by that is there's always capital waiting to be deployed, looking for a good deal. Now, who's got this money? What does private money loans actually mean? This is where you're going to go into your network, into your community, into your circle of influence, and you're going to ask family, friends, colleagues, and others for the capital that you need to go fund your deal. Now, when you go do this, guys, you want to make sure that you know what you're doing. You've done a deal or two. I always recommend that. Some people start off by having a partner come in and say, hey, we'll do the deal. We'll split the profit 50-50. That's a good way to start. But I would always recommend you do your own deals first so you know the pitfalls, because when you borrow money from these people, the access and the cost of capital is all negotiable. With the first 3 funding sources we talked about, generally speaking, that's not that negotiable. Those costs are fixed. We're talking about points, interest, fees, things like that to get into the loan, or even how the deal is going to play out, whether you're going to have to give away some equity, or whether you're going to have to do an interest-only loan, or you're going to have to do principal and interest, things like that. All that stuff is not really negotiable when you're dealing with the first 3 types of funding sources. But with private money, you can get money from your friends, family, colleagues, and other places. Other places could include a 401k or a retirement account. You could get stuff from an IRA. You can pull money out of a life insurance policy. which by the way, I actually have done that, okay? There's different places where you can access the money, but this money, although it is very negotiable and very cheap to get, it also comes at the cost of a relationship if you do it wrong. So, by making sure that you have experience and you know what you're doing and you know how to talk the business of borrowing money to do deals, then feel confident you can use this money and you can scale this money, and you can also scale your real estate business using this money. So lean into your networks. Make sure that once you have done a couple of deals and you have the experience under your belt, you start reaching out to the people that you know so you can eliminate the cost of financing, which provides bigger margins on your deals. Now, we've gotten to the end of the 4 types of financing that exists in real estate, but here I'm going to give you a nugget. All right, you good? All right. So, the last form of financing that I absolutely love is seller financing. Now, generally speaking, it does fall under the umbrella of private money. However, in this case, I'm going to show you guys all the different ways that this money is negotiable and potentially very cheap. So, recall, when we're getting a loan, we need a down payment. We need some kind of collateral. We also need to determine what our term length is going to be, or how long we're going to hold the financing. We're going to have to determine an interest rate, which in some cases can be 0%. You can make, and I have done this, principal only payments to a seller. Okay? If you're buying a property that you're looking to fix and flip, consider using seller financing in order to get the money to buy the deal. That doesn't mean you have to give all the money up front. That just means you're going to make payments to the seller over a certain amount of time at a certain cost for their capital. But you get rid of all of the points, fees, origination, all the haggling, the back and forth, the credit checks. There's no banks, there's no qualifying. It's just on the basis of trust and being able to do the deal. Getting seller financing to do real estate deals does require a little bit of experience. Otherwise, you're going to consistently be shooting shots in the dark, and you're going to need a lot of reps and a lot of no's in order to get your first deal. However, it's not impossible. So, seller financing is the nugget for you guys that I was waiting to tell you about, that if you leverage seller financing, the world is literally at your fingertips. Your job would then be to go out, find a seller that may or may not want to get rid of an asset or convert their asset into a mortgage note, which is, to me, the most passive way to invest in real estate possible. Why do I say that? It's very simple. If you go get financing from a seller and you don't make that payment, the seller has the ability to foreclose, take their asset back, and keep all of the money you invested into that deal, which means they get all the money, they have all the power, and you got to make sure you make good on that deal. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. So, that being said, don't negate using seller financing to go out and buy properties. So, one person I'm going to connect you guys with that's going to allow you to get financing that you need to get involved in real estate deals that you might have in the pipeline or you're getting ready to partner up with somebody on is a good friend of mine, Exanoa Chica from Easy Street Capital. Now, you guys can see I gave you guys half her number. The reason why is I want you guys to come through me, direct message me, so that way I can get you connected to Exanoa Chica. She has the best rates, she closes in 5 days, and she makes getting funded super, super easy when you're looking to do a real estate deal. So, I hope this video helped you guys understand that there's 5, not 4, 5 different places where you can get capital to go do your deals. And if you don't have capital at all, do some wholesaling. List some properties on the market, get it sold. This is going to require you to make some phone calls and work some leads, and that's really a sales and marketing business. Nevertheless, it provides the capital that you need in order to get started. So I hope this video helped. I will see you guys on the next video. If this video was valuable to you, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace!